Christmas University Challenge. Asking the questions, Emil Roger.
Hello and welcome to the final of this year's Christmas University Challenge. Over the last few nights, we've seen a parade of writers, scientists, artists, broadcasters, musicians, sports people, politicians and more tackle a very tough quiz in the hope of doing credit to the universities and colleges that once taught them. Now, only the best two teams remain, and whichever wins tonight will be crowned series champions. The team from Corpus Christi are here having seen off Edinburgh University in the heats and Royal Holloway in an extremely competitive semi-final. In that match, Corpus answered a remarkable 83% of their bonus questions correctly on subjects including British film directors, Danish history and frogs and toads. The only topic they tripped up on was rock music. Playing for the third time tonight are a professor of cognitive neuroscience specialising in the study of autism at King's College London, a political documentary maker, journalist and writer, The Guardian's puzzle columnist who is also the author of several best-selling books on mathematics and puzzles, and a playwright particularly known for his political works, including Temple and Limehouse. Let's meet them for the final time.
Hello, my name's Francesca Happe. I read experimental psychology and I graduated in 1988.
Hello, I'm Michael Cockrell. I read politics, philosophy and economics, and I graduated in 1962.
And their captain.
Hi, I'm Alex Bellos. I studied mathematics and philosophy, and I graduated in 1990.
Hello, I'm Steve Waters. I studied English, Literature and Language, and I graduated in 1987.
The team from Middlesex University beat the University of Leeds in their first match and Bangor University in their second, with an impressive average score of 185 points per game. Along the way, they showed us they knew a lot about art, film and early jazz, but perhaps not so much about science. Their lineup consists once again of a lecturer, writer and broadcaster on art and architectural history, a crossbench peer whose current work focuses on legislation regarding modern slavery, a Turner Prize-nominated artist who is also a poet and filmmaker, and a music journalist, television presenter and magazine editor. Let's hear them introduce themselves one more time.
Hello, I'm David Heathcote. I gained my degree in Contemporary Cultural Studies in 1982 from Middlesex. And in 2007, I got my PhD in Architectural History.
I'm Lola Young, and I graduated in 1992 with a PhD in Film, Media and Cultural Studies.
And their captain?
I'm Heather Phillipson, and I graduated with a PhD in Fine Art Practice in 2008.
I'm David Hepworth. I studied drama and education and graduated in 1972.
Well, you clearly know the rules and you look absolutely petrified, so I think we should get going. Here we go then. Fingers on buzzers. Here's your first final starter for 10. In the 2022-23 football season, Plymouth Argyle, Cambridge United and Burton Albion, Luton Town and Southampton were successive higher division teams eliminated by which club, who became the first Tier 4 side for more than 30 years to reach the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. The club's home ground is close to Cleethorpes Beach on the east coast.
Middlesex Heathcote.
Grimsby.
It is Grimsby Town, yes, well done. Your bonuses then, Middlesex, are questions on 3 new UNESCO World Heritage Sites inscribed in 2023. They are also included on the UNESCO list of World Heritage in Danger. Added to both lists in 2023 was the historic centre of which city on the Black Sea, whose major landmarks include Primorsky Boulevard, the Potemkin Stairs and an opera and ballet theatre complex?
Odessa.
Yes. In which modern-day country are the landmarks of the ancient kingdom of Sabah Marib? It includes sites of the pre-Islamic state's architectural and technological achievements to around 630 CE.
Sudan, maybe?
Sudan.
No, it's Yemen. Incorporating the Grand Canopy Exhibition Hall, the Rashid Karami International Fair of Tripoli in Lebanon was designed in 1962 by which modernist Brazilian architect?
Oscar Niemeyer.
Yes, that's right. Let's start the question now. A display in the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston features a lock of hair from which composer who died while in Bayreuth in 1886? Locks of his hair.
Corpus Christi Waters.
Wagner?
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. You can hear more of the question, Middlesex, but don't confer. Locks of his hair were supposedly highly sought after during ecstatic crowd reactions to his concerts, which came to be known as an eponymous mania.
Middlesex Hepworth.
Liszt?
List is correct, yes. Your bonuses then, Middlesex, are 3 questions on the playwright and screenwriter James Graham. Featuring flashbacks to the miners' strike of 1984-85, which recent television drama series takes its name from an area of woodland near the East Midland town where Graham grew up? I need a precise single-word title here.
Sherwood.
Correct. First performed in 2021, Best of Enemies centres on political debates in the USA between William F. Buckley Jr. and which prolific author? His works include Julian, Lincoln and The City and the Pillar.
Gore Vidal.
Gore Vidal.
It was Gore Vidal. Voted Play of the Decade in a 2019 poll by Bloomsbury Publishing. The title of Graham's This House refers to what institution?
It's the House of Lords, is it?
The Senate. American.
The Senate.
No, it's the House of Commons. Another starter question. Gregory and Albertine are names given to the east and west branches of which extensive geological feature caused by tectonic activity? It is the site of some of the world's oldest fossil hominids and stretches from the River Jordan to Mozambique.
Corpus Christi Waters.
The Rift Valley.
It is the Rift Valley, yes. Your bonuses then are 3 questions on Europe in 1523. Which union between the monarchies of Denmark, Sweden and Norway collapsed in 1523 with the election of Gustavus Vasa as King of Sweden? It is named after a city in southern Sweden.
Malmo.
Gothenburg. Could be Uppsala.
That's not in southern Sweden.
Gothenburg.
Gothenburg.
No, Kalmar Union. 1523 saw the death of the Dutch Pope Adrian VI. After him, there would not be another non-Italian in that office for 455 years, when which person became Pope?
It's Pope John.
John Paul.
Yeah, John Paul.
Is it John Paul? 2.
John Paul II, yeah,
yeah.
I'll accept that. In 1523, Hans Holbein the Younger completed a portrait now located in the National Gallery of which Dutch humanist theologian?
Erasmus.
Erasmus.
Correct, yes. I'll start the question now. It's a picture round. For your picture starter, you will see some chemical compounds that are commonly used to create fireworks. When used alone, all these compounds would produce a firework of what colour? The answer I need is a spectrum colour of the rainbow.
Middlesex Heathcote.
Yellow.
It is yellow. It is yellow. Was that a guess?
Yeah.
For your starter there, you saw the chemical formulae for sodium nitrate, sodium oxalate and sodium cryolite, which are commonly used to create yellow-coloured fireworks. You'll now see 3 more lists of compounds. In each case, tell me what colour firework they would all produce when used alone. All answers are spectrum colours of the rainbow. First, these 4 compounds all produce what colour when used alone?
I don't know what BA. What does that stand for? What does BA stand for?
Barium.
Which? Blue. Do you think it's blue?
I would say try green.
Is that?
It's a guess.
Is it in the rainbow?
Is it of the rainbow?
Wasn't
Is it got to be of the rainbow?
It's got to be in blue.
Green.
Green.
Green is correct, yeah. They're various barium compounds which burn to produce a green flame. Secondly, these 3 compounds.
Which
I don't know. Well, never my strong suit. What's left?
red?
Red.
Yes, those are various strontium compounds which produce a reddish flame when burned. And finally, these 3 compounds.
David thinks it's blue.
Or violet.
Violet, is it?
Violet.
It's blue. It's the copper, in this instance, that makes the flame blue when burned. Right, fingers and buzzers, another starter question. Which genus of herbaceous perennials includes blackjack, the winner of the 2023 RHS Chelsea Flower Show Plant of the Year, described by the Royal Horticultural Society as having upright flower stems topped by spherical flower heads crowded with purple-black florets? The name of this genus derives from Greek words meaning love and flower.
Middlesex Phillipson.
Rose.
No.
Corpus Christi Happy.
Delphinium.
No, it's Agapanthus. Let's start the question. In which poem does one of the titular travellers say the lines, "There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slope"?
Middlesex Hepworth.
Journey of the Magi, T.S. Eliot.
Well done. It is the Journey of the Magi, yes. Your bonuses, Middlesex, are 3 questions on a pair of scientists. Native to Northern Australia, the colourful rainbow finch is more commonly known by the short surname of which 2 19th century ornithologists? This married couple collaborated on the 7-volume Birds of Australia.
I haven't got a clue.
Pass.
John and Elizabeth Gould. In addition to illustrations by Elizabeth, the Goulds' Birds of Australia included drawings by which artist and poet whose verse features characters such as the Quangle Wangles and the Pobbles?
Edward Lear.
Yes. John Gould is also known for his identification in 1837 of several species of finch, including the genus Geospiza, from specimens brought to him by which naturalist?
Darwin.
Correct. Let's start the question. In which of Plato's texts is Eros described as a demon born of the union of poverty and Porus, the god of resource and plenty? The same text introduces the concept of the ladder of love and takes the form of a collection of banquet speeches by figures such as Aristophanes.
Middlesex Phillipson.
The Symposium.
Yes, Symposium is correct. Your bonuses there, Middlesex, are 3 questions on drinking and philosophy. This is a quote. "And no truth was to be uttered there excepting that which is in vino, when the wine is a defence of the truth and the truth a defence of the wine." These are the words of which 19th century philosopher known for the philosophical concept of the Knight of Faith?
Pass.
It's Kierkegaard. This is another quote. "It would seem that drunkenness is not a sin, for every sin has a corresponding contrary sin. Thus, timidity is opposed to daring and presumption to pusillanimity. But no sin is opposed to drunkenness. Therefore, drunkenness is not a sin." Which scholastic philosopher wrote this in the Summa Theologica?
Francis Bacon.
No, it's Thomas Aquinas. This is another quote. "Thus he is quite contented that if he says canary wine is pleasant, another man may correct his expression and remind him that he ought to say it is pleasant to me." Who wrote this in the 1790 work Critique of Judgment?
Kant.
It is Immanuel Kant, yes. Another starter question now. Spending the majority of his career at the Leiden Observatory, which Dutch astronomer confirmed the rotation of the Milky Way galaxy in 1927, as well as calculating the distance of our sun from the galactic centre? His study of comets led to the prediction of the region of icy small bodies around our solar system, which bears his name.
Corpus Christi Waters.
Huygens?
No. Anyone from Middlesex, you may not confer. Buzz if you want to. Have a guess? I'll tell you, it was Jan Oort. Now let's start the question. Also called the Grog Mutiny, the riot that took place at the US Military Academy at West Point on Christmas Day, 1826, is more commonly named after which festive drink?
Corpus Christi Happy.
Rum?
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. Its ingredients include milk, sugar, cream and whiskey.
Middlesex Heathcote.
Eggnog?
It is the eggnog riot, yes. Your bonuses, Middlesex, are on contemporary art in Salisbury Cathedral. In 2023, the cathedral staged To Be Free, an exhibition exploring human rights and freedoms. Born in Beijing in 1957, which leading artist created the porcelain free speech puzzle? Its ceramic pieces are arranged in the form of a map of China and bear Chinese characters that translate as free speech.
Ai Weiwei.
Yes, created in response to the killing of George Floyd, Yinka Shonibare's sculpture, Justice for All, takes the form of a figure in a pink floral dress with a globe for a head. It reimagines Lady Justice, a statue that stands above the dome of which London building?
Is it the Old Bailey? Or is it Courts of... Yeah.
The Old Bailey.
It is the Old Bailey. A large embroidered installation by Cornelia Parker bears the name of what historical document? Her collaborative work represents the text of a Wikipedia article as it appeared in 2014 on the 799th anniversary of the document in question.
It's the one about freedom, the big charter on freedom. Yeah, I know. Is it the Magna Carta? Was there another one?
Doomsday Book?
No, it must be the Magna Carta then.
No.
Is it the Magna Carta?
Magna Carta.
It is the Magna Carta, yes. That's the question. Plenty of time, Corpus. This is the music round. For your music starter, you're going to hear the beginning of a well-known aria. For 10 points, I want the title of the opera in which it appears? Anyone? No, I'll tell you. That's Tosca by Puccini. We'll take your music bonuses in a moment. What initial letter links all of these? An ancient ruler who was the son of Darius I and Atossa, the Chinese region sometimes known as East...
Corpus Christi Waters.
X.
X, yes, well done. Your music starter was the tenor Enrico Caruso singing E luce van le stelle from Tosca. 2023 marked the 150th anniversary of Caruso's birth. And for your music bonuses, you're going to hear 3 more of his aria recordings. I want you to name the opera from which each is taken. First...
It's an early one, isn't it? I mean, it sounds like.
Name an opera.
It's not Mozart.
Go on, give yourself a chance, get it back in the match. Come on.
Name an opera. I don't know many.
It's not Madame Butterfly.
Come on.
Madame Butterfly.
Madame Butterfly.
No, it's The Elixir of Love by Donizetti. Secondly...
That's Carmen.
Carmen.
Correct. Finally...
No, that is Rigoletto.
Is it Rigoletto? I don't know.
Rigoletto?
Could be.
Rigoletto?
Yes, well done. Let's start the question. Acquired jointly in April 2023 by the Getty Museum and the National Portrait Gallery, Portrait of Mai, a 7-foot-high, full-length depiction of the first Polynesian man to visit Britain, is a major work by which British portraitist, born in 1723?
Middlesex Heathcote.
Reynolds.
Yes, of course, it's Joshua Reynolds, yes. Amazing, amazing work. Your bonuses then, Middlesex, are 3 questions on the pulp fiction magazine Weird Tales, founded in 1923. First published in Weird Tales in 1932, The Phoenix on the Sword by Robert E. Howard is usually regarded as the first work to feature which sword and sorcery hero from the fictional land of Cimmeria?
Conan.
Correct. Which occult detective, created by Seabury Quinn, was introduced in the story The Horror on the Links, first published in Weird Tales in 1925. The magazine ultimately published more than 90 stories featuring the character, and he was a frequent cover star.
Pass.
It was Jules de Grandin. Created by H.P. Lovecraft, which fictional ancient deity first appeared in a story published in Weird Tales in 1928, in which it is described as the green, sticky spawn of the stars, an eldritch contradiction of all matter, force, and cosmic order?
Oh.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I can't remember.
Pass.
I'll tell you, it's Cthulhu. Let's start the question now. What 7-letter word can mean all of the following? A graphical indexing component of Chinese characters, an atom, molecule or ion with unpaired valence electrons, the symbol used to indicate the square root, and a member of a British and Irish political grouping in the early to mid-19th century.
Corpus Christi Bellos.
Third.
No? Anyone from Middlesex want to buzz without conferring?
Middlesex Young.
Fenian?
No, it's radical. Let's start the question. Which flagship ran aground on Christmas Day 1492 on the north coast of Haiti?
Corpus Christi Happy.
Hispaniola.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. Where La Navidad, the first European colony in the New World, was built, partly from the ship's wreckage. The remaining 2 ships, the Nina and Pinta, arrived in Spain in March the following year.
Middlesex Heathcote.
Santa Maria.
It is a Santa Maria, yes. Christopher Columbus's first voyage. Your bonuses then, Middlesex, are 3 questions on minerals used in cosmetics. One of the oldest known cosmetics, kohl, that's OHL, is a dark eye paint made traditionally from ground stibnite, an ore of which semi-metallic element. The name stibnite derives from an obsolete name for this element, as does the element's chemical symbol.
Mica? I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
Graphite?
No, it's antimony. An oxychloride of which metal, adjacent to antimony in the periodic table, has been used in cosmetics since antiquity for a pearlescent effect. Silvery white when freshly extracted, this metal becomes vividly iridescent when oxidized and can be made to form distinctive stepped crystals.
Is it silica?
I thought it was titanium.
Go on.
Titanium?
No, it's bismuth. A hydrated magnesium silicate that is used widely in powder cosmetics for its ability to absorb moisture is commonly known by what short name? This naturally occurring clay mineral is the softest reference mineral on the Mohs scale of hardness.
Is it talc?
Talc?
Yes, it is talc. Picture round now, and for your picture starter, you'll see a notable example of interior decorative art. For 10 points, name the artist who created the paintings on the room's walls and ceiling and the artwork above its fireplace.
Corpus Christi Waters.
Aubrey Beardsley?
No.
Middlesex Heathcote.
Klimt?
No, it's Whistler.
Whistler.
Now let's start a question. In a children's novel of 1950, which fictional kingdom is described as always winter and never Christmas?
Middlesex Phillipson.
Narnia?
It's Narnia, yes. As I think almost all 8 of you knew. Whistler's Peacock Room, which you saw for your picture starter, is part of the collection of the Freer Gallery of Art, which opened to the public in 1923 as the first part of the Smithsonian Museum specifically dedicated to fine art. The gallery specialises in Asian and American art, and for your picture bonuses, you're going to see 3 more works from its collection. First, here I want you to name the artist.
Hokusai?
Hokusai.
Yes. Secondly, this is a plate from a notable edition of which epic poem?
Is it what's the Indian one?
Siddhartha, is it? Is it Siddhartha?
Siddhartha?
No, that was Ramayana, and the illustration shows Rama fighting the 10-headed demon Ravana. Finally, who painted this work from the American collections? Come on.
Don't know.
I'll tell you, it was John Singer Sargent. Now let's start a question. In mathematics, what 7-letter term denotes objects such as the Koch snowflake curve, that is, infinitely complex patterns?
Corpus Christi Bellos.
Fractal.
If only you had a mathematician as captain. Well done. Your bonuses, Corpus, are 3 questions on people cast as a Barbie in the 2023 movie Barbie. Who plays Mermaid Barbie? In 2020, she released the Future Nostalgia album, and her song Dance the Night is featured on the Barbie soundtrack.
Lady Gaga? Could be. Lady Gaga?
No, it's Dua Lipa. Who plays President Barbie? She created and starred in the HBO series Insecure.
Scarlett Johansson?
No, it's Issa Rae. Which actor plays Weird Barbie? A friend since college of the film's director, Greta Gerwig. She was a cast member of the sketch show Saturday Night Live from 2012 to 2022.
Tina Fey?
It's not Tina Fey.
No, it's not Tina Fey. I can picture her, but I can't name her.
Tina Fey.
No, it's Kate McKinnon. Now let's start a question. In 2023, at the World Athletics Championships, the USA's Katie Moon and Australia's Nina Kennedy shared the gold medal in what event? They both achieved 4.9 metres.
Middlesex Young.
High jump.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. You can hear some more of the question, but don't confer, Corpus. 4.9 metres, 16 centimetres short of the world record.
Corpus Christi Waters.
Long jump.
No, it's a pole vault. Now let's start the question. Published in the 1910s, Footsteps on Snow, Fairies Are Exquisite Dancers, and The Hills of Anacapri are the English titles of preludes for piano by which French composer?
Corpus Christi Waters.
Debussy.
It is Debussy, yes. Your bonuses are on Britain's best inland towns and villages, according to a 2023 survey by which magazine? Which planned village in Merseyside came 3rd in the survey? It was built by an industrialist in 1888 to provide homes...
Sunlight.
Yes. Named along with Stonehenge in a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which village in Wiltshire came second? Its prominent Neolithic stone circle is near the western edge.
Avebury.
Yes. Situated at the southern edge of the Mendip Hills, which small city topped the Witch Pole? Its cathedral houses an unusual medieval clock?
Wells. Next. Wells.
Wells.
Correct. Let's start the question. Usually issued in response to questions from individuals or courts, an authoritative but usually non-binding legal opinion given by an Islamic scholar under Islamic law is known by what five-letter word?
Middlesex Hepworth.
Fatwa.
It is a fatwa, yes. Your bonuses, Middlesex, are 3 questions on CIA operations in Latin America. From 1981, it's not that funny. From 1981, Ronald Reagan authorised the CIA to give covert funding and training to right-wing militias known as the Contras in their campaigns against which left-wing group that governed Nicaragua? A single word name is enough.
No, that's Colombia. Is it Nicaragua? Oh, God. It's gone. I know it, but it's gone out mad. Just pass, I think.
Pass.
Sandinistas. The 1952 CIA Operation PB Fortune and 1954's Operation PB Success were attempts to overthrow Jacobo Arbenz, president of which country?
Was that Colombia? Was that Venezuela? Colombia? I don't know. I don't
Hurry up.
Colombia.
No, it's Guatemala. Which socialist president of Chile was ousted with CIA backing in a 1973 coup by military leader Augusto Pinochet?
Allende.
Allende.
It was Allende, yeah, that was the other 9/11. Now let's start the question. Garter, helical coil, torsion and leaf are among types of what simple mechanical device made of a rigid material, often metal, shaped so that it returns to its original shape after compression or extension?
Corpus Christi Happy.
Spring.
It is spring, yes. Your bonus is Corpus Christi. 3 questions on non-specific numbers. Used generally as an adjective meaning numerous or many, what word is also a mathematical term for a type of topological space and an automotive engineering term for a pipe with multiple inlets and outlets?
Manifold?
Yes, used informally for an unspecified large number. What word is thought to derive from a colloquial name for the dash in Morse code? I need a 7-letter word.
Several.
No, umpteen. Which word is both an adjective meaning numerous and a historical term for a Roman military unit of the order of thousands of infantry?
Legion.
Can't remember. Legion?
Yeah. Legion.
Legion is correct, yeah. Another starter question. And that's the on Corpus Christi and A2 and Middlesex level 175. What a magnificent performance. Corpus, where were you for the first 20 minutes? It was just one of those things. This game is so much about rhythm and momentum, and somehow I think you're just slightly late on the buzzers to begin with, and it was painful watching you watch those bonus rounds. But you were absolutely magnificent in previous rounds. Have you vaguely enjoyed coming along and being smashed by Middlesex?
Even this game.
Yeah. Well, it's been wonderful having you and your wonderful mascot. Middlesex, you're the champions.
Yeah, we are quite surprised.
Quite surprised.
Taken aback.
Yes, and despite consistently not listening to the quizmaster or any of the rules that he laid down, you did absolutely brilliant. And that was phenomenal, and up against a very, very strong side, and you made it look almost easy, which is quite an achievement. Well done, guys. It just remains for me to say a huge thank you to all the guests who took part in this year's Christmas University Challenge, and of course to you for watching. I very much hope you can join us next time for another match in the Student Series. But until then, it is goodbye from Corpus Christi, Oxford.
Goodbye.
Bye.
It's goodbye from our champions, Middlesex University.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.